This is a tutorial on how to use MassFX to create some collisions. There's two main ways of doing it. One is with a plugin called Fracture. It basically ball hits the wall and it fractures the wall into many pieces. The other one is just Max, no scripts involved. The one on the front uses a script, like I said. I'll show you how to do both ways. I'll make two-part tutorial video on how to do it. Part 1 will just be the regular box, and part 2 will be the fracture one. We'll go over texturing and a basic lighting system and camera. So I'm gonna go over here, new, and I'm just gonna reset this. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So first, let's create a plane in the perspective viewport. I'm gonna press Alt W, and I'm gonna go over to my modify panel. I'm gonna change this to 500. Oops. 500. I'm gonna change the length of segments to 1 and 1. So I have my plane now, and I'm gonna press G to take the grid away. And I'm gonna go back to the create panel, and I'm gonna create a box. It doesn't have to be too big. So I'm gonna go about that. I'm gonna go 6, 12, and 6 again. Just get it to something that you like. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm gonna change this actually into shaded, and I'm gonna go press Alt W again, and I'm gonna go back into the front viewport. I'm gonna press Z to zoom on it. Press W. If your gizmo's not on, press X and it will toggle the gizmo. I'm gonna copy this over by pressing, holding down Shift and dragging over the X-axis. Make sure there's a space between it. I'm gonna copy these over. 9 of them should give me 10 copies. I'm gonna copy these again and drag them up on the Y-axis this time. And copy it again. Drag it over to give me that wall effect. And then I'm going to copy both of those and drag them up again 3 times. So there's my wall. Alright, now we're going to create the sphere for the ball. Make sure you have auto grid selected, so you can just click on the wall and your ball will go exactly right there. So this is where my ball is going to hit the wall and go through it. So we're going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to full screen this one. Viewport. I'm going to back this up. That's going to go to about frame 20. I'm going to press auto key. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. Auto key. And I'm just going to drag this through. And if I go back here and play this, the ball just goes through the wall. Nothing happens. Alright, so now let's go through and get MassFX. Here's my MassFX toolbar. I'll show you how to get that right now. Go up here and just right click and press MassFX toolbar. If you can also do it by going up here, customize show UI, show floating toolbars, and you'll get the same toolbar. So I'm just gonna put it off to the side. I'm gonna apply a kinematic rigid body to the ball. It's for everything needs to be kinematic. That's gonna be a projectile. It's gonna be hitting the wall. And I'm just gonna apply a basic preset to it of concrete. And then for the plane, I'm gonna apply a static. That means it has no values to it. It's basically has not important to the scene at all. So it's telling Max to ignore it. And then I'm gonna select the bricks. I'm gonna go over here and select dynamic rigid body. And once those are applied, we're gonna go over here to the MassFX tools. I'm gonna go over here to the rigid body properties, and under material preset, we're gonna click cardboard. So it worked this time. It's been freezing up every time I do that. Under static, under mesh type, we're gonna keep it as a box. If it was if we're using the fracture type of way to do this, we'd use convex. But since we have boxes, we'll use a box. And let's go back to the sphere real quickly, and we're gonna change this to it's the convex sphere. So now the radius is 4.116. So basically I can make this bigger. It's basically the invisible force field of the sphere. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to change this back to this number, which is my exact sphere size. So just going to leave those the same. And let's go through here and press play and see our animation. It goes through the wall and just knocks it over. But as you can see, it just whoops. just goes to the wall and stops and nothing happens to the ball. Let's say we want the ball to fall down after it hits the wall and then there to be a collision. So we're gonna go to the ball again. I'm gonna open this and I'm gonna press T to take me to the top view. I'm gonna slide it over my timeline and let's go right before the ball hits the wall. For me, it's frame 9. So over in rigid body properties, I'm gonna change this to until frame 9, it stays kinetic, and then it changes into a rigid body. So now when we go back and play this, it kind of, oops, let me just go over to a different view so you can get a better view of this. It hits the wall and falls down and rolls away. So it looks a little nicer. Let me show you a little thing, some different presets you can use. You can go in here and use whatever preset you'd like. So if I go to concrete, it's gonna affect the ball. Is gonna affect the wall differently. So it kind of hits it and just kind of like rolls away. I'm gonna change this back to cardboard for now. You can keep it at whatever you'd like. So now I'm gonna go through here and show you how to use do some textures. So first I'm gonna press M on my keyboard and bring up the texture material editor. I'm gonna go over here, and before we do this, let me show you. Make sure you have where the render set up by pressing F10, and just scroll down to assign render, and make sure it's on mental array. I already have it selected in this case, so I'm just gonna exit out of that. So over here we're gonna go to the whoops, we're just gonna click standard, and we're gonna go over here to and pick the basic Autodesk default. So I'm just gonna apply that to the plane to give me a nice reflection. And now I'm gonna select the ball. Over here I'm gonna go on the in the modify panel. I'm gonna press U on the keyboard and go down to UVW map. This is just gonna basically map the ball and give it like a nice texture. I'm gonna click sphere and go to real world mapping size. So when I apply a texture, it's gonna form around a ball basically. So I'm gonna select a regular car paint, and just apply that to the sphere. And now for the wall. Again, I'm gonna apply a UVW map to it, and I'm gonna select box this time and real world mapping size. So I'm gonna go over here to the material editor again by clicking standard, and I'm gonna scroll down to concrete. And for this one, I'm gonna use smooth precast. Just gonna apply this to that and assign selection. And we can click by clicking this, we can show it on viewport how it looks. Alright, so now I'm just gonna close out of that. I'm gonna create a basic light system. I'm gonna go over to systems and create a light system. This just says it's recommended to use photo, so I just click yes. So I'm gonna create my light, create the compass, and then over here to the modify panel, click manual, and you can move the light around. I'm gonna go a little off over there and drag this up. Just get it something how you like. And I'm gonna click the lighting and change instead of standard, change it to Mr. Sun and Mr. Sky. This just says it's changing the background environment, so yeah, I'm gonna have it. And for the blue and tinting, I'm just gonna go 0.5. It just adds like a warm feel to it, so I kind of like it. Alright, so now when we go on the timeline, nothing happens. So we're gonna go back to the FX tools, MassFX tools, and we're gonna go and bake all. So it's gonna bake into the timeline, and we should have made our plane a little bigger. I'll go back and do that right now, just by going back to plane and change this to say 1000 by 1000. So now when we go back and play this, everything stays on the plane. So now I'm gonna go down here and zoom in on this. I'm gonna create a camera by get the view I would like, and press Control C, and it puts me in a camera mode. I'm gonna go back to perspective by pressing P, or you can just go up and press Z for zoom extents. I'm gonna press Alt W so I get a better view of my camera. And instead of make sure you have the camera selected, and on the Z axis bring it down to 1. And then I'm gonna move this kind of closer to the camera. I'm gonna change this to the camera view so I have a nice view of it. It's a little off, so I'm just gonna fix my camera. Whoops. And there you go. So that's basically how you make it. I'm just gonna change the wireframe color to all black. Just looks a little nicer. Alright, so now for rendering, we're gonna go up here to press F10, or you can press. So I'm just gonna keep it. If you want to render an animation out, do active time sequence or range. And I'm just gonna scroll down to assign render. I'm just gonna save it here, and I'm just gonna save it as an AVI. So I'm just gonna save it as that, and I'm just gonna JPEG. I'm gonna bring this up to 80. Pixel quality. I'm gonna go to 1, do 16. I'm gonna change this to low, and I'm gonna render this out. And one more thing, if your whole animation doesn't fit on the timeline given, go over here and press right here this button, timeline options, and you can extend the timeline out. You can make the speed half speed, so it kind of slows everything down. So I just changed that to half speed, so everything kind of slows down. Boom. So it's in slow-mo basically. If I change this a little longer, so maybe 200, and go to 1/4 the speed, it's gonna be pretty slow. It'll be in slow-mo. Boom. Okay. So that's basically how you create a little animation. So I'm gonna render this out real quick. So it's rendering fairly fast. You can see it's kind of a nice render. Semi-realistic, so you have that nice sky background. So that's basically how you do it without the plugin or the script. So the next one, in the next tutorial, I'll show you how to do the same thing but with the script using Fracture. Thank you.